might be sitting here watching, or in the next 5 or 10 minutes, they might be joining in and catching us midstream in the conversation. Hi, Molly.
Hi, how are
Hey
you?
Molly, hey Barbara.
Hey,
So
Hey,
Marianne.
Barbara, hi.
there's Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Well, let's officially kick off our Saturday morning marketing Smarties. Greetings, everybody. I had a quote from someone who I just really, really dig from our past, maybe mostly from the last decade or so. I think actually Zig Ziglar passed away 2 years ago, but Zig Ziglar made this comment world famous, and what he said was, "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want." So that is the spirit of things around here with Marketing Smarties. Our whole purpose is to help people get what they want, and very much so centered around Google Hangouts and communities and discussing things and sharing with the world. So let's see how far our reach of sharing can go. And anyway, this is Saturday morning marketing Smarties, a great place to start if you're pre-website, still one of the 50 or 60% of people who have a small business but don't have a website. You're not alone, and there's a way to go from here, but you don't want to just jump in and do anything. So if you stick with us and join us in our weekly conversations, you'll get more and more clues about places to start, what you need to do as you get started, and go from there. By the way, I'm looking off the side of the screen. I could be looking into the camera, but then I completely freeze and don't know what I'm saying. So I'm kind of keeping my head into the people that I'm grouping with, and also some notes on the side to keep me organized. But good enough. I don't need to be staring you guys in the eye. My goal with Marketing Smarties, by the way, we're sponsored by R&D Hotline, where you can get everything you need to put your business successfully online. And I would, what I want to do is be a curator of information from the internet. There's a lot of stuff coming out. So basically, what I do, I sift through the sludge and the BS and try to explain, interpret, and also reveal the bare truths. And so people can use this as a guide to devising a simple marketing plan with tools that make sense, with a marketing plan and strategies that work. Because you don't need to do everything. You got to do the select few things that will be beneficial for you. And we have 4 guests today, and I'm just going to march through here and introduce them, and then later on we'll be giving them some time to talk about what they do. But my first guest, if I don't know if your lineup is the same as mine on the bottom scroll there, but Barbara is a friend of mine and also a blog marketer who runs a couple of websites. This is Barbara Quick, and she's a newbie at marketing, but she's been on a long, eventful road trying to figure out how to do it, and she's got some stories to tell. So it will be very interesting to hear from her later. And next in line is Duran Alamshah. And Duran is an old buddy of mine. He actually got me started on internet marketing. And he is the president of Rewardster and Rewardster.com. It's a customer engagement and loyalty rewards program, and it's all online. But it's for online and offline stores. It's not just for online businesses. However, it functions online. And his mantra is one card, universal rewards. Next is Molly Youngblood Geiger. Hi, Molly, and thank you for joining us and being so chipper. Molly has a web community forming and a program she calls Marketing Online Leveraging YouTube. And I'm just dying to sit down and talk to you in depth about YouTube sometime. So we're going to have to do that. Next is Zara Altair. And Zara Altair has a program. Hi, Zara.
Hi.
Zara has a program called Midweek Zap, and she gives clues to everybody every Wednesday at noon and runs a regular Google Hangout, and I try to make it every week. And she has some very interesting guests. Her motto is Actation Now, and I'll let you ask her exactly what that means. But she's a Google Hangout guru, and one of the reasons that we're functioning at the level we are today is that she's been spending the last hour trying to get me straight. So we have a few little accents to our production here, the Hangout, that are definitely um, influenced by her efforts to help me. So thank you very much, um,
My pleasure.
Sarah.
And it's what I do is I help people navigate Google Plus. It can be confusing. It's it's usually a trail of actions. What did you say, Jen? It's like user error.
User error. Yeah, you know,
User error, but when you put in the mix that, like with Hangouts, Google can be very, very quirky with Hangouts. So even if you do something correctly, that day something may not be working quite correctly.
very,
So
very.
I've had it happen to me, and I've known a couple of other people where they do their whole Hangout, and then when it's time to end the end the broadcast button is not available.
That's funny.
And also comment tracker can be quirky, so some days it works, some days it doesn't, or it may work for you in the morning but not in the afternoon. So you have to be patient with the quirks.
Absolutely, I hear that loud and clear. Also, I want to express that there are some people watching, and I know that there are more than I even think are watching because a few people did not RSVP, but they plan on trying to make it. They may have joined in, so I'm not going to be able to mention everybody, but I do know that Kristen Drysdale was planning on watching, and I really appreciate that. I'm honored. And they call her the uncrowned queen of hashtags. So I really want to find out more about that because that's probably the one of the things that I know the least about internet marketing is hashtags. It's just I don't have time to get that deep into the social media stuff, but I'm really focused on the basics. So we'll get around to Kristen sometime.
Well,
Also,
Roland, the hashtags you don't. Kristen is incredibly creative. She creates them, instantly. These amazing hashtags. She has a gift with that. But for the rest of us who aren't so creative with coming up with instant hashtag words and phrases, hashtags, for instance, on your Google Plus posts, if you just do 2, and they don't have to be complicated, they can be very simple. They just really reflect what the post is about, and there's a couple of ways that helps your engagement. One is just that people can search a hashtag on Google Plus, and if you have added that hashtag to your post is going to be listed in that stream. So just straight finding your post, it helps. But it also helps from your perspective as well, in that if you create a hashtag for your brand, like for example, the Midweek Zap Hangout, anything that has to do with that always has MWZ Live hashtag with it. So you can also search all the posts that you have done with that particular branding label if you want to go back and see what did I say about myself or my brand. If you create your own hashtag for your brand, that is really helpful. And over time, people begin to recognize, oh, this is that, and they associate it with your brand. Or you can also use it as Mark Traphagen does. He has certain posts that he puts only on Google Plus. They aren't on LinkedIn. They aren't, And so he has those with a hashtag plus only. So once you start experimenting with hashtags, there's a lot of ways that you can use them for yourself in organizing your content.
Yeah,
Got
think
it.
of it like keywords, Roland. Put it in the context
Yeah.
of a search professional. It's something
Exactly.
we're just adding keywords to making it searchable, as Zara already said, but using the keywords.
Actually, I'm familiar with this from WordPress and doing it that way. But the hashtags, as implemented practically into social media, that's is one thing to know the tool exists, and another thing to devise the strategy that makes them useful. And so, okay, let's cancel out the rest of these things I planned, and let's really dig into hashtags. no, no,
This is what
we're
I
not
love
going to do
about
that.
Google Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's a good taster, and I think that event is something that we need to devise and conquer and present a really good session to the people so they can understand hashtags, because I guarantee you 95% of people do not. A few people are,
Yeah, absolutely.
the Twitter nuts and some of the people are deeply into hashtags, and they're just
Hey,
going
watch my
nuts with it.
coffee.
But, like I don't use Twitter, and so and people are going like, you don't use Twitter? No, I don't, because I'm focusing on the few things that make a difference for me. And is that at some point I'll determine that, oh my God, Twitter is going to be really beneficial to me. I'll dig my heels in and then get into it. But right now it's a little bit farther down the list. So we'll get back around to what we're focusing on for today, and then plan hashtags for the future. And that would be a great thing. Anyway, they were. Let's see. What did I miss? Anybody else? Yeah. Wanted to bring up that Glenn Jewett is probably watching. He's been just a faithful Saturday participant with us, and he's an SEO PPC specialist with services1223.com, and he's an AdWords and SEO specialist and guru, and he's pretty good at PPC. So we'll bring him on someday and let him tell you more about it. Um, Also, before I go on now, we have a gentleman named David O'Rourke from Ireland, and I think his connection was brought to me by Barbara, and she introduced me to David. David is from Ireland, and he's an internet marketer dealing with social media, and he's an internet marketing coach and consultant from Ireland. So glad to have you there too. Um, Regarding today's subject, I have a lot of trouble not getting overly passionate and fumed at some of the aspects of what we're talking about, because so much of the time nowadays there's so much to choose from. One of the biggest things that we mentioned earlier was user error. When we're trying to figure something out, a lot of times the tool is there, the tool works, but user error causes us to fail. So when you extrapolate that out at a larger scale, when we're talking about the internet, there are all kinds of tools out there, but if you're using the wrong tools, you're at a dead-end street. So you really have to break down and identify the things that are going to be beneficial to you. And also there's using the right tools the wrong way. I mean, one of the things that happens to me all the time is people say, oh yeah, I'm doing Facebook marketing and social media marketing. Well, what are you doing? Oh, I'm posting twice a day and doing this, and doing that. And basically they're going through the motions and using the tools improperly. Because if you want interaction and if you want influence through social media, you're going to want to engage with people, and you can't do that just by planning a series of posts and putting them out there and expecting business. Because most of the time people are short-circuited with the concept, and they think, oh, this is going to lead to contact and sales, and lots of people are going to traffic to my site. And it's like, but guess what? Probably not. So if you want to conquer the probably not, that's a much, much longer discussion. But the tool is right, and if used properly, it can be really beneficial to you. So anyway, there's the whole problem of using the right tools in the wrong fashion. Also, I think that this is something that happens a lot. It's misunderstanding the goal. Now, people are so focused on ROI that they forget about building a community, building a following, getting some influence out there, building relationships that lead to sales. So if you leave all that out and short circuit it and try to jump on the how quickly can I get them to buy, how can I get more people to buy, you're really missing the mass of the opportunity that really exists with social media and internet marketing. Okay, so now that I've rambled on, let me find my place in my notes. We
You
had,
pulled a Duran.
pardon me?
You pulled a Duran. The rambling on a tangent till.
Oh, all the time. Okay, that's why I have notes, because kind of keep me redirected. Um, the whole essence of this, using the wrong tools to try to get the job, or using the tools improperly, always stems from misunderstanding. And I want to give you a couple of examples of this that I saw. Actually, I take this from the internet usually, and it gives me an example that's live and in your face, and live as in people talking about it and probably posted this 2 days ago. And then they give you these stats and stuff and determined metrics, and they throw it in your face and say, this many people did that, but they don't tell you, because of this, what should you do, and how do you interpret what's going on. So let me give you a little example of this. Salesforce, a pretty well-known company online, and as a business organizational tool. Salesforce took a poll of 5,000 marketers about their budgetary changes for the year 2015. And they determined that 70% of the respondents, the people who participated in the poll, said 70% of the respondents planned to boost their social media ad spend. Now, when I read this, I thought, oh, that's good. More people are investing in the internet. And I thought very skeptically to myself, what a bunch of idiots. Because the concept is, and people will disagree. I run into a lot of flack, and I get myself into a lot of trouble in conversations with people who say, no, ads are fine. You just have to know how to design your commercial, and you have to be alluring and get them to click the link and so forth. And I'm so sick and tired of tactics that get people to click because of an emotional thing that has to do with actually the value of the product. I've been saying for years now that if you want to advertise something, let's start off by saying, or by analyzing, what is it that you're selling? What are you promoting? How good is it? How much integrity did you put into the product? And how much support are you going to give the product once you sell it? So there's a lot going on with online promotion, but the people will just take whatever they want and then say try to sell more of it or advertise it better or make a better commercial and that stuff. To me, that's like, I don't know what that's like. That's like, well, it's very much like this. Last 2 weeks ago, I did a LinkedIn post, and I proposed that marketing is going to get honest this year. Well, maybe not this year. It's going to start getting more and more honest because people demand that. In social media and so forth, it's too easy to say, express yourselves and so forth. And people are expressing all the time, and it's free. Nobody has to coerce them to get a good commercial out of the people who are sold on something. So it's all over the internet and easy to get. And yet you run into ads and commercials that have like the big king-size burger here, and they've got this thing painted up and devised that when they took that picture, half of that burger isn't a burger even, but the picture looks great and it's stacked this high, and then you go and buy one and you pull it out of the wrapper and compare it next to that picture of the burger from the commercial, and you're going, wow, there's that, and then there's this thing that I just pulled out of the package, and they do not look alike. I mean, you know that they're not going to. And I posted a picture of that. Well, it's the truth. And so my article was called Truth in Advertising. And the point was, they have this old saying, and it's, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Except for the problem is, in internet marketing and in a lot of marketing in general, traditionally or otherwise, that's not true. And so advertising today is being demanded to be more realistic and more honest and the into to advertising. So it's not going to be enough to just look like a duck and walk like a duck and maybe even quack. It better damn well be a duck, and they're going to prove it. And if it's not a duck, everyone in the world will be talking about it and saying they're showing you a duck, but it is not a duck, and you don't want to be a part of that conversation. So I encourage people to always constantly deal with their product to make sure their product is of value, and maybe the best value for the money might be the category, depending upon what the budgetary expenditure is to acquire the product. Make sure it's of value that encourages people to spend the money. So my big thing in marketing is truth in advertising, and then being honest with integrity and expressing the value in a way that it makes sense to people. And I think that if your product in the first place is good enough, that they will receive your advertising and be convinced that you're a good possible choice. So that's my big thing with advertising. And I find that social media and the opportunity that we have at hand in social media is definitely the way to go today. And people can get started with that in things like Google Hangouts and expressing in blogs and different forums, and get the exposure that they would like to pay ads to do. That's going to be much, much more beneficial than any ad that they can come up with. Now, I'm not saying to can the idea of ads, but you better be doing the social media and the expression and expressing your brand through the truth in that communication interactive source, or I'm going to do. So that's my spiel on advertising, and that's why I am in the type of media that I'm in. Now, in a few minutes, what we really focus on in this program is finding tools that work and setting up a plan that's going to be successful, that has a chance to work. And then if you pick a plan, set it up, and work it diligently, if you set your plan up right, it's put your boat, it's going to get some movement, you are going to get results, and then you continuously revise. It's kind of like, how do they say, rinse, repeat, all that stuff. Well, I would add a couple things. You have to experiment, you have to review, you have to revise, and then you have to repeat. Constant state of improvement on what you're doing. One dude just cracks me up, okay? I love Anthony Robbins. But my claim to fame is
Yes,
that
Anthony. Just kidding.
my claim to fame is that I've corrected something that he made a radical mistake some years ago. It's probably a couple decades. He came up with this concept called CANI, C-A-N-I, which is an acronym for Constant and Never-Ending Improvement. Now, that's all good and well. Constant and never-ending improvement. CANI. The problem that I found with it is that can I is a question. So it's like you're asking, can I? And then this is supposed to be a motivational content because, Tony Robbins is totally a motivational speaker. So he's got this thing that's supposed to encourage people and empower, and he uses a question, can I? And I said, no, Tony, you've got it wrong. Of course, I'm talking to myself. I wasn't able to talk to him directly. I said, it should be, I can. Improvement, constant and never ending. And that is a statement, a declaration that, yes, you can. I can improve. I can change. And this parallels a concept that the Japanese have, and it's called Kaizen. And it basically expresses the same thing. They use it in the motor industry and electronics and everything. And that is they constantly invest a part of what they're doing into further research to improve their product. And if we're all doing that also, then we're going to improve our services to people. We can be on a constant growth cycle and completely evolve as the environment evolves, as the internet evolves. We can be up with the evolution and keep on the cutting edge of how we can always supply our clients with the best information, use the best tools, and use the best strategies that make the most sense, that strengthen their brand and sell more products, because people are absolutely sold. And the best way to do that is through what we call education-based marketing, because when you take the time to educate the people and you get them involved in like hangouts like this, you can talk to them every week and give them a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more and answer their questions and interact, and basically the people are getting an education. Plus, even we as marketers are getting an education as we go. So we are part of that growth cycle. Okay, so I've kind of gone on and spieled all along, all about the same, central concept. And what I would like to do is go down the line, and I would start with Molly. I'm going to go to Duran, and then Barbara, and then we're going to wind up with Zara. But first of all, Molly, I know that you've done, you've done everything. You've built websites, you deal with AdWords, PPC, SEO, etc., blogging, and now Google Hangouts. And I probably missed about a list, yay long. But what I would like to know is relative to the tools that are useful to small businesses. Now, I know that there are also tools applicable to small, medium, and large businesses, but the focus of this program is for people who are just sitting at home trying to figure out how to launch their business and get some traction on the internet. What direction would you pose to turn the people? What is your suggestion?
Sure, that's a great question, Roland. I was a small business at one point. I was a startup. I didn't have a lot of capital to invest in my business, and so I literally started by using social media. I set up all my accounts and I started posting regularly. In addition to that, I just started telling people who I was and what I did. I would do posts like a daily motivational quote, but at the end I would include, Design Right For You, the name of my agency, and a link to my website so that people could follow and see what it was I did. And so a part of that was part of my strategy for getting new clients. In addition to that, I started hosting local meetups, meaning I would host an event locally where I would invite businesses to participate and share with them what it was I did. I actually am also a part of the Google Small Business Community, which is a great place for small businesses to learn just a wealth of resources on how to engage their business online. Now, within that community, I have participated for almost a year now, and they have promoted me to a small business advisor. And so I get questions quite regularly about, well, what can a small business do that's maybe they're on a limited budget and they're not really exactly sure where to start. And so I actually hosted an interview where I answered several questions. But if a small business were to come to me and say, Molly, what can I do on a shoestring budget that's going to boost me online, is exactly what you mentioned, engagement. Getting online, and it's not just about being online. It's not just about posting links or articles. It's about trying to engage your audience and build your audience and tell people who you are, what you do, and how you can help them. One of the strategies that I've implemented just for myself is to help people. Meaning, if I see a question posted about SEO or social media or websites or anything that I have a knowledge base about, I just jump in and I answer the question. And I've been doing this for almost a year now, and what I've found is people, they feel like they can approach me, which to me is huge, because I think for a lot of small businesses, they're not quite exactly sure how to use the internet to engage themselves, to introduce themselves to other people who might be interested in the services that they provide. So Google Plus has been an integral part for me. I've been on social media for several years now on all the different platforms: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest. But out of all of those social media outlets, Google Plus really has been the most engaging platform, mainly because of being able to plus a post, add hashtags like Zara mentioned earlier, and using Google Hangouts on Air. I have recently started my own TV series, if you will, marketing online leveraging YouTube. I hosted my very first TV show just a couple days ago on Thursday, and we had a great turnout. And what was so great about it is the comments that we learned. And it's not so much about how many people attend the Hangout on Air. It's the historical data, like Zara has pointed out before. I've hung out with Zara on several occasions, and one of the comments that I remember seeing was a gentleman had watched the replay. He wasn't able to attend the live event, but he said, I learned so much from this hangout, I'm going to go back and watch it again and take notes. And for me, that was like the biggest compliment that I could have gotten, because what that means is the information that was imparted was so valuable to him that he felt it was worth going back and revisiting. So if I had to tell a small business what to do, I would say get signed up on all the social media platforms, get familiar with Google Hangouts on Air, start doing daily posts. There's several different apps that are available that will help you automate those posts, and try and engage with the people who respond to your posts. So that would be my initial advice for a small business.
Thank you. Now, by the way, Zara, Molly, and Barbara, you can put your lower third up if you like. You're not just here supporting the R&D show. So if you want to put up your ID, use your lower third, please, and identify yourself, so people are sitting there listening to me ramble on, and they're going, who was that person over there on? And then they can actually see what you are and even look you up if they want. So feel free to add your lower thirds and don't hesitate. Barbara, do you need a little help with that?
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
Okay, we're going to talk you through it a little bit, and that'll be lesson B for today's hangout. Okay? But anyway, Molly is mentioned a couple of things. The Google small business community, and it's something that we should all look into, and looking into other businesses doing the same thing that share their knowledge. The typical advertising agency or online marketing community, they don't talk with other people, and they don't share with other people, because they don't want people, they're being stingy about it. They think, well, I'm not going to tell somebody else what it is I do, or the secrets to my business, because then they're going to take it and do it themselves, and they're not going to need me, and I'm not going to make any money. And that's so far from the truth when it comes to internet marketing regarding the social media push and inbound marketing, and what I call now engagement marketing. That's the term that people are starting to use. And so we definitely want to steer away from the outbound traditional put your ad in front of people's faces motif, and get into the engagement marketing. And she mentioned two things that are very important. Help people, which totally emulates what we just said with Zig Ziglar today. If you want everything, you can get everything you want in life as long as you help other people get what they want. And that's what this is all about, helping people. And she also mentioned something, and it led me to believe this, that it's been part of my mantra for the last several years. It's not the how. I mean, it's not the what. It's the how. In other words, yeah, be on social media doing it, but learn how to do it the proper way so that you're not wasting your time and effort. And so the how is very, very important. the why is important too. But that's another show. Okay, we're going to move onwards to Duran, and I know that you're the one that actually introduced me to internet marketing in the form of HTMLing and building websites and getting my feet wet with graphics and Photoshop and stuff. So this is the man that got me started with internet. And he's progressed onward. He's always seems to be one step ahead of me. Well, like we talk about internet marketing, and he's on, I'm on page 30, and he's on page 60.
It's not a race.
But anyway, he's kind of like a time warp into the future, and really his program capitalizes on exactly what I think engagement marketing is all about. And so I'm going to let him tell you, Duran, what do you think the main thing is that you would focus people on and point them in the direction towards success for a small business?
Well, I always love that question. It's my favorite because it allows people to see themselves in the mirror. That's the hardest part. First thing I try to share is to get a good understanding of what it is that you're offering, what it is that you're in essence selling. Once you have an understanding of what it is that you have to offer people, from there you're able to find the right tools to be able to properly promote them. I don't think that there's any one set of tools, one group of tools that should be used in every situation when it comes to marketing of any kind. There's definitely benefits to using things like Google Plus and other social media context and having connections with other people. There's no way to do any business without connections. So I'm a big believer in engagement marketing. Obviously, that's what our business is. But what I would probably steer people towards is once they've got an understanding of what it is that their product or service or their offering is, come up with a game plan for themselves, a set of items to help them steer themselves into the types of marketing that are best for their product or service. When it comes to internet-based businesses, if you're selling a service, there's different types of services that I recommend to my customers, our customers, for service marketing revolves around, as we mentioned, engagement marketing, but more specifically what we refer to as funnel marketing, giving customers the ability to, our clients I should say, the ability to connect with their customers and then put them into an ongoing contact system. It's referred to in some cases as CRMs, customer relation management. Some people refer to it as drip marketing. It has all kinds of names, but ultimately the effect is the same. What I've found over the last 15, 20 years of doing this type of business is that most small businesses focus on new customers. There's nothing wrong with new customers, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you you shouldn't be looking for them. The problem is that once they're a customer, most businesses start looking for the next one instead of focusing on the one you've got. It costs 6 to 7 times more to find a new customer than it does to build a relationship further with a customer that you already have. And who better to recommend you to other new customers than an existing customer who really loves your product or service? So I usually try to steer our clients in the form of focusing on the existing customer lists that you have now. 80% of your future company's revenue will come from about 20% of your existing customers. That's a statistic from the Gardner Group. As I mentioned, the White House of Office Consumer Affairs is the one who stated it's 6 to 7 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than to keep a current one. The probability of selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%, while selling to a new prospect is 5 to 20%. That's from Marketing Metrics. And this goes on and on. a 5% reduction in customer loss can result in a 25% to 125% increase in profits, the Bain Company. So working with your existing customers actually is a form of engagement marketing, because once you've focused and given them the attention that they need and deserve, they are the ones who then turn around and become your best marketing platform. The way that we explain it in 2 or 3 sentences is that we help your clients, we help you with converting your infrequent customers into loyal customers, and your loyal customers into the most dedicated and cost-effective marketing team your business will ever have. So I think that falls right in line with the type of engagement marketing that you're talking about, Roland.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned some important factors which reflect pretty much part of my spiel that I went through. Knowing your value and your offer. If you know, to know your offer, that's important, because if you value your offer and you see the value and then can convey that value to your people, your listening audience and your potential clients, then you can effectively educate them as to your benefits and value, and the likelihood is they're going to see the value too. But the real essence of internet marketing today with the engagement marketing is to build a relationship that gives you the chance to talk to those people and explain your value. And not only that, to help people solve problems and develop the relationship that makes them receptive to what you have to say. And then once they go, oh yeah, I like Roland, or I like Duran, and by the way, he has a lot of very important and valuable things to talk about. That increases the value of what you said, because without the relationship of know, like, and trust, what you have to say carries very little weight. So the relationship is an important thing, and I've been sitting by and watching you build this program for a couple of years, and the thing that I love about it is that it extends this concept that we're trying to build all the time, and that is not the B2B or the B2C relationship, but the person-to-person, the H2H, as Brian Kramer calls it, human to human. You've got to be able to be represented on the internet as a person that people can reach and believe and know, like, and trust. And that is reaching out with a relationship that allows people to be in contact with you. So your program, although it's automated, does not eliminate the human element. It has to enforce and embrace and empower the human element, so that when people get these automated emails and contacts and things, they still look at the contact like, oh, this came from Roland's business, or Roland, or this came from whatever, and they have the relationship that backs the contact.
So regarding that, one of the things that our services that you're referring to does is it does give you the opportunity to be able to automate email types of contacts, text message contacts, but what it also can do is it can notify you or someone on your staff that here are the customers who are experiencing a birthday today. Here are their phone numbers. If you want to give them a call, now's the time to do it. And it's a great way to keep the personal touch. Obviously, one individual can't call 1,000 people in a day, but if you've got the team who can make the calls, as long as you've got a system that will notify your team to make the calls, then that option is available for you too. And it's much more, as you already mentioned, it's much more effective when you've got a person-to-person contact. The ratio of being able to make what we call in internet marketing business the conversion, the customer who went from a prospect to a customer, goes up greatly once you can make that connection.
Thank you, Duran. Yeah, the thing about the internet, as I've witnessed, is that all marketing is supposed to emulate what you would do if you were the human standing in front of the human. Since you can't be, it's the internet, we emulate the human aspect and try to, superimpose a an ID and a personification of who we are and so forth, and try to draw an image in the person's mind who is reading about it or reviewing you. And that's why video works so well. And when you talk about video, then you've got canned commercials, or you've got video hangouts like what we're doing here. And this is totally unrehearsed, as Zara says. Uh, her hangouts are notoriously unrehearsed and unscripted. But the thing is, it's real. People are to the fire, and you're real, and you're human beings there fielding questions and stating off the top of your head. So if you don't have commitment in what you're saying, it's going to show right here and now. And I like that. So the human element and the follow-up, I love your system, and we'll be talking more about it in the future. And now I would like to ask Barbara Quick to open up her microphone for a moment. And she's been on an interesting journey, which could take a whole show. But please tell us a little bit about your experience and what you're planning on doing. She runs a couple of websites, and it's a very interesting thing, and I'm behind her 100%. So I'll let you talk for a couple minutes and tell us what you're doing.
Well, I have two websites, Dogs and Their Owners, and it's a fun site. Do it from as though our dog Susie were telling the stories. And then I have Discovery Health Happiness, and that's about keeping a positive attitude in life. And I've had to do that through my life because there's been a lot of negatives happen, but you don't have to let the negatives turn you negative. And so kind of that's basically what the two websites are about. I own them now, own the domains. Started out on the wrong path. Companies owning them, disappearing, taking my blogs with them, leaving me hanging. Everything that could have happened. So those things were a little negative too, but now I've got it back on the positive, and I've got them.
It was meant to be, Barbara. I mean, when I listen to your story, I'm amazed that you still own your domain, because she did not for a while. I mean, they literally hijacked her domain, and she didn't own her own property there. And
Yeah.
she blogged for maybe almost a year, and then her blogs disappeared, and then we were able to retrieve some of them, and it was just, I mean, for the internet, we would take an expensive creative writer to come up with your story, and it's quite a trip that you've been on, let alone the life experience that you have accompanying this at the same time. So we have to applaud you. What Barbara's been doing is starting with the one thing that is what I call the base of a tripod of internet marketing, and that is a website. And of course, the other legs of the tripod are social media with Google Plus and YouTube as the third leg. And what I always like to say is, a table stands on three legs. If it's got four, it might wobble, but if you got three solid legs, the table can stand. And then you can build upon the table and add things and accent, change, whatever. But you got to have three solid legs. You have to have a place for people to land, traffic to your place, and you have to have reasoning and value. And that's what a website, Google Plus, and YouTube provide. So you're on the stages, Barbara, of the website and the blog. So what she's doing right now is she's creating content and producing the best content that will be applicable to SEO and so forth. But she's attracting people and creating a zone of interaction where people can comment, and she can return comment and add them to an email list. So she's got that building. So she's got the right things started, and now we're actually teaching her some basics and starting to develop her Google Plus account and her business pages and that stuff. So that's stage number 2. And then, of course, we're moving on from there to add YouTube and do a basic video, because when she videos her dog and herself and a few brief lines of what she has to say, the people will simply love her, and that can't be conveyed any better than in a video. So that's the next step beyond. But the good part about it is when she's doing all three of these without doing any other, um, let's see, is that Molly typing something? I'm not used to this format, so it's like I see that and I go whoosh, off track. But anyway, we can address the things that you had to say, of course, at the end here. But anyway, once Barbara has those three things set up, she has the opportunity to put leverage and refine those three things and actually have the right combination to come up with Google place one search results, page one search results in Google search, whereas everyone else is jumping on SEO and doing all these tactical things, and all they have to do is the basics the right way, and they could come up with page one search results. So that's our ultimate goal. And Barbara, you've been on a long road, but I'm really surprised at how much you can learn. I mean, they talk about old dogs, new tricks. Excuse me, you're a young dog because you're sucking it all up and you're making use of it, and you're probably one of the brightest people that I know online right now. And there are, of course, we've run into people in various chat rooms and things that even though they are 25 or 30 years old, they show the intellect and the dynamics of your dog. Your dog's smarter than a lot of these people. So you definitely are picking up the right tools and doing the right things to create content and drive something that will make a difference in your near future. So thank you very much. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Zara because we're running out of our time here and I don't want to miss. I would like to ask you, and first of all, thank you for helping me out this morning. You did a lot to get us live and functional the way we are. And anyway, you've done a lot of things, and I know you focus on Google Hangouts, and I anticipate that that'll be part of what you would focus on. But let me ask you, from your own mouth, where you would point people who are new in business and starting on the internet.
Oh, I agree with your three legs. The importance of your website, even if it's just a parking place for the time being, is your original content needs to be on your website, because if you're posting on any platform, if it's Twitter or Facebook or Google Plus, any of those platforms can disappear. Google can take away your account for what unperceived, unknown reasons. I've had that happen to a couple of people, and it was a long fight to get their account back. So you want to have that website, if for nothing else, just a place where you don't have to recreate the wheel. And it is also, as Roland said, the place where you can direct people, and the place where you can have content up, and the place where you have things for sale and people can click through and buy. Hey, And then as far as social media is concerned, engagement is kind of a buzzword these days, so it loses a lot of impact. But I like to think of it from a social standpoint as interacting, so that if you post something, you want to frame it in your words that will get people to respond to whatever it is that you post. You don't want to just put it up like an ad. Ads don't work on Google+. It's a very interactive back and forth community, and that is how you build on Google+. So you want to make whatever you post pique some interest and get people to respond. And there's different levels of response on Google+. So there's +1, that means they liked it and they moved on. There's commenting, and there's commenting back on the comments. And those are all really important, and that is how you build your traction, is to get really involved. If you post a photo that you like, whether you took it or somebody else took it, don't just post the photo. Say why you like it. Say, you know, you love the light over the water, if it's a waterscape, or, you know, the detail of the bird's feathers, if somebody has captured a bird image or a flower or whatever. Whatever it is that appeals to you, you know, I never see that yellow color, but here you've put it in this image. And invite people to respond to that. So what you're doing at all levels, whether it's in your post or you're doing something as intricate as a hangout on air with, you know, people in the film strip, is you're inviting conversation, and that I would say is the very key thing. And also, speaking of SEO, David Ameland originally wrote a book, I think it was 2011, called SEO Help, 20 Semantic Search Steps That Will Help Your Business Grow. And at the end of January, he released a new edition, which is completely and totally rewritten, and I'm going to be posting for all of February. I'm going to be posting different quotes from that book because it's a new way of looking at SEO. And one of the things he has from chapter 2 is work from your strengths. While you really want to be everywhere on the web and do everything, you need to be realistic. At this early stage, because we're talking about starting out your business, at this early stage, start off with what you are already good at and work on what you're not as you go on. And I just have to agree with that. I totally agree with focus on your strengths. I just had a long conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago about their strengths, and they had been listening to buzzwords like engagement and all those things, and, you know, build your personal brand. And she had been told over and over again, you know, your brand, your personal brand is what you're good at. And she said she was feeling so battered down, she said, I feel like I'm not good at anything. And I said, that's ridiculous. Yeah. And I said, look at it. Forget about judgment values like good or bad. Let's look at what your strengths are. And you know, I can see from your webpage and the posts that you post that you're all fired up about this. So those are your strengths. Those are your enthusiasm about each project that you put in place. And that's what you need to put out there in the world. For her, it was her enthusiasm. For someone else, it might be their rational and analytic abilities. It just depends on who you are. So that if you're starting out in a business, take all the marketing advice with a grain of salt and focus on your strengths. That is what I would say for someone just starting out in business. Focus on your strengths. Learn the other part later, but for right now, focus on your strengths.
That's perfect, and I'm really glad that you framed it like that, because one of the things that I, from the very core of my being, believe that we should not focus on what we can't do. We should focus on what we can do. So we focus on what we can do from where we are with what we've got. Do what you can from what we are, where we are, and what we can do, and that's your starting point. And so many people, when you eliminate the doubt factor in their own beings and eliminate the lack of confidence, if they could just get over the point and say, okay, I'm just going to take the first step, whether I sink or swim or whatever, I'm going to take the first step, and they usually will find results that are more promising than they ever thought that they would be.
Exactly, because if you're leading with your strengths, Roland, it's going to resonate with the people that connect with you, because that's how you bring out that connection, you know, as they're like, oh wow, you know, they're enthusiastic, or wow, what a geek, I just can't believe how he analyzes all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so whatever your strengths are, that is what you put out there and you share with people, and it does make a difference, and people do engage with you. And the other thing, as far as Google Plus is concerned, is I really want to encourage people to, however shy you might be at the beginning or however confused you might be, just keep pushing your limit each time you post or each time you comment on someone's post. Just go, oh, I don't know what to say, because that's how I started on Google Plus. I had no idea what to say, you know.
Right.
And you just keep saying something, and pretty soon you really have a way, you know, your personality really starts coming out just in your comments. Yeah, Molly says get just a little bit outside of your comfort zone each time. And as you do that, you find that your comfort zone enlarges.
Sure, because if you stay in your comfort zone, you're going to find yourself in front of the TV on your couch.
Yeah, exactly.
So we all want to engage in business, and it's easier said than imagined. There are ways to go. So let's see. You know, thank you everybody for your comments, and I appreciate what you said. I think that we've got a lot to mull over, and I would like to collate the things that have said. And luckily, it's been done because it's all on the Google Hangout, and so we can go back and watch this and review what we did and laugh at ourselves and cheer ourselves and so forth. But before I go, I would like to, let's see, Kristen Drysdale just checked in. Checking on the time. I've got 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Oh, I don't think that we're in the right time zone, Kristen. We're probably
Arizona.
Yeah, a couple hours off maybe. But sorry about that. Hopefully you got to watch, and if not, the replay, please. And I want to let you know that I mentioned you earlier in this session. I actually spoke your name and talked about you, and your title of Uncrowned Queen of Hashtags. So we want to bring you in and talk about that sometime. But before we go, I want to ask Barbara if we can maybe take a look at your lower third and show people that anybody can do this, okay? And hopefully we'll be successful in talking you through it. So Barbara, if you go on to the left side of your screen and click the bottom, the link to your
toolbox, yeah.
Toolbox, right? Let me know when you're there.
Yeah, I did that. Oh, and then I clicked the little person.
Yeah, and very soon I'll show you how to set the preset so you can keep it.
Yeah, I thought it was saved.
Don't worry about it. It wasn't, or it would be there. So click on the upload of the lower third for your custom overlay. And then, of course,
yeah.
And then you come up with a search window that shows you how to navigate around your computer. Do you remember the folder that we made for?
No, it didn't do that. It went to Hangout Image, but it didn't come up with the search thing.
Okay, well then go to the Hangout Image.
Yeah, I did. I
Okay,
double-clicked it, and over on Custom Overlay, it has lower third.
Okay, good. Now click the off. Click the digital off button.
Right. That's what I didn't do. Here we go.
Yay!
So go ahead and talk for a bit now, so that we can all take a look at your lower third. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's on. It is on mine anyhow.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's.
Thanks for Roland's help.
Yeah, so she's got a lower third. It brands her and it gives her name, and so people could actually see who she is when she's talking. And then the next time I ask you to be in a hangout, I'll be able to present you and keep you in front of people's eyes, and they'll be able to tell who you are, and it'll help boost your brand and so forth. So thank you very much, Barbara.
Thank you.
Anyway, folks, I want to thank everybody for being here. We're 7 minutes over time, and I should let people go. But we've had a lot of fun, and a lot of people have a lot of great stuff to say. So since we can't do it all in one session, I'll have to have you back again. So anyway, my name is Roland, and you've been witnessing Marketing Smarties on a Saturday morning. So thanks a lot, everybody. And by the way, I'm gonna go ahead and break the broadcast, but I don't want everybody to leave yet. We've got a little bit of discussion that we can still have.
Thanks for having us, Roland.
Thanks, Roland. Appreciate the opportunity to participate.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Thanks
you.
very much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.